Welcome to Hoppy Talk. My name's Matthew Coles.
Rick Russell.
And we're gonna drink some Guinness because it's Irish and it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, so in light of St. Patrick's Day, we're gonna do this Guinness Extra Stout. So a beautiful beige label, right? The harp, which is, I don't know why a lot of Irish things have that harp. You would think it would be a clover, right? That would be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, the harp's probably Irish is my guess.
Yeah.
It came from Ireland before the piano probably, right?
So really cool, classy label, unlike the extra, or not the extra stout, the Guinness
Draft, yeah.
The draft. Yeah. So this is 5.6% alcohol by volume, 11.2 fluid ounces. St. James Gate, Dublin, traditionally brewed 1759. So really, really old brewery.
Yes.
On the back, it says extra stout, intense, characterful, and bold Guinness Extra Stout is a pure expression of our brewing legacy. Bittersweet with subtle hints of hops, dark fruits, and caramel. This stout is a testament to great brewing. And from the little bit of research that we did, this one is not nitroed, right?
No, yeah. And I mean, if you watch this podcast, I like nitro beers. But there have been beers on this podcast that retain the head. They have the small bubbles, the big bubbles, and all that, and I love it. But I do like nitro stouts. And you know what? I've said this before also, I'm not a huge fan of Guinness. I love the history. I love Ireland. I am actually part Irish. We're part Irish.
We're part Irish.
On your mom's side and my mom's side because they're sisters.
Yeah. There's Irish colonies in Mexico. I think it was during the Civil War or during the Mexican-American War where a lot of Irish defected to Mexico and they had more in common with Mexicans than Americans. So yeah.
Wow.
So pretty cool, right? Ready to crack it open?
Yeah.
Let's do it. There we go. I forgot I left my bottle opener over here.
All right. Yeah, so let's get going on this. Let's see how it looks. It's gonna be dark. The bottle's already dark, and the dark bottle helps retain some properties of the beer, right? That's they're in dark bottles.
Yeah, sunlight is an enemy of beer. That's one of the enemies of beer, also oxygen and stuff. So the dark bottle allows it to last longer, right? So the light doesn't affect it as much. Won't spoil.
Ooh, that looks so good. I poured mine on purpose like that.
And still, like the original Guinness, there's like a ruby red hue on it. If you look at it, the bottom.
Yeah, so this is a very dark beer.
Like if you don't have it at the light, it just looks dark. It looks like a dark brown, huh?
Are porters darker than stouts?
There's a lot of
variation.
Yeah,
they combine
variation.
Because this looks. I was gonna say it looks like a porter. But because I've seen lighter stouts, but I guess there's lighter porters as well. Yeah, so the head on this is spectacular.
Yeah,
it is. It is great. So like Rick's beer has like half an inch off the top.
Yeah, I think I could do more.
Yeah,
I could do more on that.
I want to try.
Look at that. It's nearly an inch and a half.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's great.
Where it's retaining, it's not spilling over the glass. You have a lot of different sizes of bubbles.
My beer doesn't want to pour properly.
Oh man, rookie. Just kidding.
There we go. I don't know. Oh, that's good. Yeah, my beer spilled for some reason a little bit. But yeah, that looks great.
It looks super frothy, super good. It's holding it. It's holding it
really well. Yeah. So I like to see this in a beer. It's like 3/4 of the glass is beer, and then maybe even less, and then the rest is head, and it looks great.
Yeah. So now, do you want to smell it? See what we think.
It smells good.
It's harder to smell because it's sticking out the glass. I say we drink a little bit and then smell it.
Yeah, you're right. We're like trying to smell the foam.
Yeah.
I smell it. It smells good.
There's like a charred aspect on it, like a little bit like blackened, I guess. but I can't smell it that well. I think we should drink
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
That is good.
That is good. Wow. I do like it. I remember thinking I would really like Guinness when I first had it, and I didn't really like it. And I even had the Guinness Nitro, and I didn't like it that much. And I'm sorry to say that. Like, I love the history of Guinness, and I love like the ideas that come with it, and the feeling, and there's so much to it. So for me to even say like, oh, I didn't really like Guinness, it hurts my heart a little bit.
Well, you do like Guinness, right?
This one's good, and I really wanted to try the Guinness Foreign. We could not find it today. I could not find it. I looked and I couldn't find it, but we will do it. Just not today, and maybe it'll be better. But this one's really good. Let's see the smell in it now.
It's hard to smell. I'm not smelling much. Are you smelling?
No.
And maybe because, I don't know, I don't, it's so well carbonated, I really don't smell much on it.
So it tastes really good. Let's see what I can taste in here. I definitely taste the roastiness.
Yeah.
That's
like a coffee.
Kind of coffee-ish, roasty.
Like a coffee, I don't want to say espresso, but a dark coffee right in the middle of the palate.
It's from roasted malts.
Yes, roasted malts. I don't know if it's roasted barley or wheat or whatever, but it's good. I think it's really good.
This is really good. Yeah.
Mouthfeel, this one has more of a carb bite, right? So like comparing it to the regular Guinness that I'm used to, I think that one's like smoother, silkier. This one has more of a bite, and I kind of like that. I like it has the bubbliness.
I think that might be what I like about it too.
Yeah, because the other one, it's like it tastes like frothy, silky. This one, I'm tasting a beer.
Yeah.
You know, more of that beer, and I love carbonation. I love carbonation. Yeah. I love it so much.
It's growing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hints of chocolate, dark chocolate, and coffee for sure. Compared to other stouts?
So, well, I'm just gonna say on the dark chocolate, I think you hit it on the head right there, because when you hear chocolate, you think of like sweet. Everyone, you think of sweet, you think of chocolate milk, you think of chocolate ice cream. But dark chocolate, man, saying dark chocolate, it does have that bitterness of dark chocolate. And I love dark chocolate. Mm-hmm. I go for like 70% and up dark chocolate. And if you put a little bit of salt in there, even better.
Oh, yeah, salted.
So it's just like a little sweet. This has that, not the sweetness, but that bitter dark chocolate. So if you like dark chocolate, you'll probably like this. And this is really good. Seeing it that way,
right?
Yeah.
I think it's a really well executed beer. I haven't had this one in a long time. I also like the bottle a lot because it does say Arthur Guinness, and it has his signature on the side. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Like, it's in the glass. It's like bubbling out.
The history of Guinness, the branding of Guinness, like all that. And I do like the other Guinness. I do like it, but this one I think is, I would take this one.
Well, tell us a little bit about the history.
So Guinness, founded in 1759, Arthur Guinness, supposedly had 20 kids. 20 kids. And he wrote a letter to his wife, or to somebody.
God bless that guy. Cheers. 20 kids? That's like 20, Abraham.
20, I know. 20, with the same woman, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
And that's he was, and he wrote a letter, I forgot to who, from what I heard, and he said, finally one of my children is helping me out at the brewery. That's kind of cool, right? It's like, hey, one of them likes what I like. Right? It's bound. One of them is bound to like it. And then, so this one also grew organically. So they didn't have like their own pubs. A lot of the time, breweries back in the day, they had the brewery and then they would make a pub, and they would only sell their beer there, right? This one didn't do that, and it just started growing and growing and growing and growing. I think like in the 1860s, and then also the English. I think the Irish. So originally it's in Ireland, leased for 9,000 years, right? And I think that's like one of the greatest marketing things. And that's what he wrote for. He put down 100 Irish pounds and 45 pounds a month thereafter. I wonder if they're still paying that. That'd be interesting to
Well,
look
for
at.
how many years did he say?
9,000.
Yeah, they gotta be paying it. How do you get out of a 9,000
I'd be
year
like, guys, we gotta jack up the rent on these guys. This is unacceptable. No wonder they've grown so much. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say, so you said that in Ireland, most people had their pub where they served their beer.
Yeah, so like if you had a brewery, you brewed your beer, and you might have had a pub at your brewery, but then you would, if you wanted to distribute, you wouldn't sell it to another bar. You sold it, you made another bar and sold your beer there, right? And then, so that's how you kind of spread. And these guys kind of, what's it called? They didn't really do that. They were selling it to other pubs, and it started growing.
They cheated.
Yeah. Well, no, that's what everybody does now. You know, I wonder if that's where we got it from.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting thing. And and then they hit the American market. I think they're like in the African market. At one point, they were one of the biggest companies in the world. I think the 7th biggest company in general. Not only in beer, in company in the world.
And I think we read in the 19th century, they were the largest brewery in the world.
Yeah, the largest brewery in the world. So a lot of history, a lot of marketing. The people that I've heard that have gone to this brewery, I would love to go to the Guinness brewery one day. But I've heard that the beer is very different there than here. And I hear that a lot from a lot of breweries that you go to. So it's like you have a beer out in the market, you drink it, and you're like, oh, that's good. But then you go to the tap room, and it's way better. And it could be ambience, it could be the colors, it could be, there's a lot of factors.
So I'm convinced that when you make a beer in the region that you're in, you take everything into consideration. For example, the type of water. So you have a type of water, and if it's very acidic, you're going to add something to it to make it less acidic, and it'll taste better. And as you experiment, but then, and it could be a lot of things. It could be the air that's being produced because of the types of trees. You could get very detailed with it. But as you do it, especially where you're doing it, you're gonna refine it to that place. And when you ship it out, or if people try to replicate it somewhere else, they're going to be missing. They're going to be missing some of those things. Like that.
And I think really beer. Yeah, I could sit down and drink this on my own, but it does give it a different taste if you're in a place that's more lit, less lit. Who are you with, right?
Yeah.
What do you like? The ambience has a lot to do with it too. I think, it has a lot to do with it too. And then if you're talking about straight up just product science, like you're saying, you know what, if you're from an area that has more acidic water, or, you know, it lacks certain ingredients, like there's some beers we should try and do. These are rare to find. I've tried to brew one, it was bad, but I might have had a couple in Poland, but there's something called the Piwo Grodziecki. And those are very low alcohol. They're made with smoked wheat. And the reason they're so low alcohol, because there was hardly any wheat around. So they would just put whatever they could, but it's smoked and it tastes like hot dog water. Like, it tastes kind of weird. The ones that I've had.
You said smoked, and I thought about roasted, like this one.
No, not like that.
Hot dog water is a completely different flavor.
To an American, it tasted like hot dog water. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so you adapt it. You know what? We need more wheat for bread, right? We need more to feed our people. So whatever little bit that they had, then that's what they would make a beer out of. And I think a lot of cultures have done that, and then we see that throughout Europe too. Whatever ingredients are there, the hops and all that stuff. But this is really big in the beer market. This has been a company that's been very influential. You know, I have people when they go into the brewery and they're like, "Do you have something that's like a Guinness?" You know, they don't say stout. They say it's almost interchangeable.
And this is definitely the most popular beer in Ireland, right?
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't doubt
think
it.
So.
But so let's see. And then apparently,
when you think of an Irish beer,
Guinness.
You think Guinness.
Yeah, you think Guinness.
Yeah, I think it's like that in Ireland too.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I haven't been. I did want to move to Ireland though. I heard right now they're having a migrant problem.
Really?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. Part of that problem. Just kidding.
We would be part of that problem.
Well, if you would have moved there, you would have been an immigrant.
They were. Well, they had this. Maybe this is what they did. Maybe this is why people are going over there. But they did this thing where, and I think they're still doing it. If you buy a house in Ireland, they'll like pay you and help you or give you a really good discount as long as you stay there and you're under a certain age. Because a lot of people, and I mean, this is the data I'm talking about is from a few years ago, but because I was interested. Ireland's beautiful. It is beautiful, and the culture is beautiful, and you know, Celtic and like the Catholicism that is there mixed with the Celtic like traditions and everything is so beautiful. But a lot of people, as they get older and they get old enough to like leave Ireland, which is pretty young still, you know, you're like in your 20s, they're leaving. So Ireland's left with a bunch of old people. And so they were asking for people to go move down there. And they're like, if you're under a certain age, and I think it's like 45, so I'm still good to go. But not if there's like a crazy migrant problem. I don't want to contribute to that. So the harp is a traditional Celtic instrument.
What's America's emblem?
The eagle.
What? No, I'm sure but I'm sure they have an animal. What's our emblem?
I don't know. I think our emblem is the eagle
with like the arrows and the olive branches?
No, just the bald eagle, period.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? That's how America is almost like Sparta in a lot of ways.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, what we don't do is we don't force our children into the military, which I don't think would be a bad thing if we did that. In Israel, for example, as soon as you turn 18, you have to serve the military. That doesn't mean you're going to go to war. It just means you have to be trained, which I think is beautiful. It's almost like Boy Scouts. Like, I think everyone should kind of go through some sort of Boy Scout training or Girl Scout training. I think so, because like you need to learn how to light a fire. You need to learn how to do certain things. Sparta was like that. Sparta was crazy. Like, supposedly they'd like send their kids out into the wilderness, and if they died, you're not a Spartan. Like at 8 years old, something like that.
So crazy.
And then
so crazy.
The Inuit had something similar, but what they would do is they dunk their children in ice cold water, and if it died, it wasn't an Inuit. And
was it the males only though?
I think it's every child.
Every child?
Yeah. But Sparta was probably just the males.
What I've seen is that like in a lot of cultures, there's like a ritual for males, right? From when you're a boy to become a man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have this ritual. In women, there's like a biological clock, right? That says, well, you're a girl and now you're a woman. But like in males, there's all these rituals that a lot of cultures do around the world.
We also do kind of have something like that.
What is it?
You can't produce sperm and then you can. And you don't have hair and then you do. But I do like it's not as traumatizing. Like, although I did look very weird while I was going through puberty. I do remember that. I might look weird now still, but I just remember I was cute. I was like a cute kid, and then I like went through puberty, and I was like awkward as crap. I had braces and everything, and I didn't even know how to dress. I was just like, I don't know what to do. I'm like lanky now. I like grew really tall really fast. But then you finish off whatever, and you become a man. But women, I think it's more traumatizing because they bleed. And then they never stop until you get pregnant, and then you go through menopause. But I do like the idea of becoming a man, and like with my kids, I want to take them onto like certain hikes, like hard hikes, like hikes that I can barely do. You know, like when they're at the right age, like, all right, we're gonna go on this hike, maybe a backpacking hike, where you have to actually like camp and you finish it off.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think like, I don't know, for my boys, to learn, it can be too easy and it can be too hard. Right? So you need like that point where it's like, you can do this, but it's going to take you work. Right? And if it's too easy, well, then they're just doing something that they already comes naturally, or they know how to do or whatever. But yeah, no, I like taking my boys, like I take them fishing and stuff like that, and see if they'll hang out and everything. And then later on, they're like, we want to go to the playground. But it's cool because it's here on a Scott out there, but it's good.
Dang. Okay. So stout. All right, so my favorite stout is left-handed milk stout. I think, I guess I would give that one a 10 in stouts. This one's freaking good. This is my first time really enjoying a Guinness.
Really?
Yeah, but I think I've had regular Guinness. I saw a documentary a few years ago. I think my parents were out of town, so I was like watching their house. So I was just down there, and and this is like maybe 5 years ago, and I watched the documentary on Guinness, and I was like, man, Guinness is so cool. Like, I love it. And so I went and got some Guinness, and I'm like, I think I paused it, and I went and got Guinness and came back, and I started drinking Guinness while I was watching it. And it wasn't as good as I expected. And I remember not liking it before also. But I don't think I've ever had extra stout. And I've told you before I like dirty beers. Would you consider this one more dirty than the regular one?
I mean,
in the sense that it has like more, like it's extra stout, you know? It's how would you describe it compared to a regular Guinness?
I think there's like a crispiness to it. I think there's more the carbonation.
Is that the only difference?
I think that's the major one. Yeah, it would be hard. I mean, I think you would have to either nitro or both carbonated to give them both a fair. Yeah, but I think that's the main thing, that this one has carbonation and the other one is nitrogenated.
So for me, like talking about the dark chocolate in it made a huge difference. And I am that kind of person where like, if I see an art piece, I look into it and then like, I'm like, oh, I noticed that there's like 12 stars and then a sun. I wonder if that represents this. And I look into it and I'm like, oh, that is what it represents. And it means more, right? Like that's how I am. And so I feel like it's the same with these kind of flavors. Like if you don't know there's dark chocolate, you know, but you're looking for it. Like we close our eyes and we taste it and we're like, whoa. Like I taste that dark chocolate in there and it just makes it so much better. I don't remember that in regular Guinness.
No, I think regular Guinness, there's a lot of silkiness, frothiness. I guess it's more about the mouthfeel for me. You're talking about the actual flavor. For me, it's the mouthfeel that is so different. I think this one is, I don't want to say lighter, but there's like more, I guess, complex flavors in it. The other one, it's more of a straight up espresso. Like an espresso, and it's frothy and it's good, but in a different way. This one, there's more like okay, it tastes like chocolate, but then I get like a nuttiness, and then I feel the bitterness of like a chocolate or a coffee, you know. And the other one is more like you're gonna get an espresso. It's like a dark coffee, and you get a silky taste.
We should go to Ireland and drink this beer. Ask them how they make it, and then we'll do a podcast on it, and then you can make it.
I would love to. Yeah.
That'd be fun, right?
And hopefully not get sued by them.
You can, because it is so hard to replicate a beer exactly unless you actually have all the exact equipment that they have. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Even if you have the ingredients, there's always something. Just the fact that you're a different person than the brewer over there makes a difference. There's the touch, and you know that like in cooking and stuff, there's a way of doing things or taking care of things. Like sometimes my staff, there's some things I don't know, I just can't explain. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But my staff is like, hey, how can we do that? I'm like, well, it's because it's different. Well, what is it doing? It's like, it does this. Just don't question me.
That's like how my mom's recipes are. Like if I ask my mom how she does a recipe, she says stuff like, and then you put a little bit of salt. And then you're gonna put like put a few bay leaves, and like that's how she describes it. And I'm like, no,
what's a few in your head?
Yes, and what's a little bit of salt, and then
like that's the thing. You can have the recipe. Like I'm not saying, I think there's people that I've had some brewers that I've done some collabs with, and they have another touch at another level where it's like, man, these guys. You know, they know how to move the mash just right. They boil it and they see it and they're like, no, I want it simmering. I don't want it boiling. It's like, I want this violent boil. They want it like this. And then even the way they transfer at the speed, they're like, that's a good speed, you know? And it's like, you know, so everybody has the way they look at things and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that there's numbers that you can put to that, but you would need to go into a lot of data and analysis and pick that person's brain. And then how do you get solid numbers out of that, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard.
There's like is that the difference between qualitative and quantitative data, right?
So what do you rate it? We haven't rated it.
I'm gonna go. Oh my goodness, what do I rate this? I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
I give it an 8.5. I do like it.
We'll end this with an Irish cheers. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through your door.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.